Hey guys, so I've been working for a couple of weeks trying to piece together a video, just going through the process of what it is to go to your first RC race and what to expect and how to go about, what's going to happen on your first day. And it's been really hard to make. So I decided it'd be a good idea. So I'm just going to interject once in a while on these segments as the video goes and just kind of clarify some of what I was saying at the track. And anyway, yeah, I'm a new driver. I started a couple months ago, and I really wish that there was something out there to kind of walk me through that process of what to expect when I went to my first race. And so I'm hoping that this will help anybody that wants to get into racing, but just is maybe intimidated by the process of getting going, and maybe help you get through this process because it's really fun once you're there. Hey guys, so today I'd like to go through just kind of the setup of what you would go through for your first day at a race. So I'm here today at 2C RC Raceway in Nampa, Idaho. And yeah, I'll kind of go through the whole process of sign-ups and what to expect as far as your race order and how to find out that info. And yeah, try and make your first day at a race a little bit easier. So first thing you're gonna want to do is get your pit station set up. Make sure you've got your charging situation figured out. I try to have my batteries charged beforehand, but I do have a battery that needs to finish off. But yeah, make sure you got your pit mat. Bring food and water. Make sure you've got batteries for your chargers if you need them. Make sure everything's charged up. And I try to have my cars all ready to go for that first run so that I can get out for practice as soon as possible. So at our track, we run a glued surface. They actually just went through and watered the surface, and so we're waiting for it to dry before we can get out and drive. But yeah, gonna be a fun day. So we're in, set up with our table, and just got signed up for the races for my class. I might add a second class. I haven't decided yet, but for now, it's gonna be racing the short course track. So before the races, you're gonna run different practices. They'll do like 5-minute sessions or 10-minute sessions, something like that, 15 minutes. Be off oval, and then we'll switch over to off-road. So everybody gets a chance to practice. Try to keep it under 8 people on the track at a time. That way it doesn't get too chaotic. So to clarify a bit on what I was saying there, our track opens at 9 o'clock and racing generally starts at 11. So that gives you a couple of hours to get yourself set up, get in, get your station all prepped, and get your car out on the track and see how it feels. Try and get a sense for how your car is going to feel, and maybe get a couple of practice laps. They're going to do different segments. So our track offers oval and off-road courses, even though it's all dirt. It's dirt, oval, and off-road on a shared course. So they'll break it up into segments, usually about 10 or 15 minutes per segment. So the oval guys will get to practice, and then the off-road guys will get to practice. That way, everybody gets a chance to get a couple of laps in and get a feel for how things are going to feel that day. So here's an example of too many people on the track. What happens is you really can't marshal it. There's too much going on. You see there's going to be cars everywhere. You keep people running, trying to keep them crashing. So you got to keep it to a minimum. Next up, we're going to do driver's meeting. We want to get set up also while you got time for like Live RC. Your track's going to have some kind of timing and scoring system. We use Live RC. So like for our track, it's 2CRC Raceway.liverc.com. That way, that shows you all your classes, the heats, just as the mains go. And now we're getting ready for the driver's meeting. All right, so we're getting ready to get the first races going. Let's show so these are the timing sheets. Like I say, you'll also be able to see this on on Live RC. So like I say, your track.liverc.com. One thing you're gonna need to know is the class so if you say you ran this class, you're gonna be the marshals for the next round. So you'll be picking up cars when they crash. So marshaling at the track is picking up the cars. So everybody that races also works the track. And so you're gonna race your round, and then the next round, you're gonna work the track. And that way there's people to pick up the cars during the races. We're not trying to find volunteers all over the place. What ends up happening is people like me that end up going and volunteering a lot don't get the opportunity to work on their cars. And then if we're not available to work on a car, then it doesn't get worked, then there's nobody to marshal the track. So we need to we have the racers marshal the track so that everybody gets picked up, and so that there's enough marshals to make sure that the track gets taken care of. Before the rounds, you're gonna get a chance to run a few laps, kind of get a feel for how the grip level is on the track, and then everybody for off-road classes like this, we're actually going to be a staggered from a stop, and then oval races we're actually going to start from motion. Okay, so this is a qualifying round off-road. We're actually going to go on our name. So there's actually a staggered start. In the main events, we're all going to start together. It was hard to hear in that video, but so in the qualifying rounds for off-road racing, when we start the races, we're all going to kind of do a couple of laps, you know, get a feel for the track, and then we're going to all stop spaced out before behind the start finish line. And in qualifying rounds, we're going to go on our name. So you couldn't really hear the announcer saying the names of the drivers as they were going, but that's why they were actually going on a delay. I know there was kind of some motion on the track. We generally try to not have that happen. Sometimes we get out there in the wrong order, because what'll end up happening is if there's multiple classes racing at the same time. For example, I run four-wheel drive short course truck, but there's a lot of times where four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive get combined together, and it makes the order a little bit confusing. But yeah, ultimately you're going to start on your name, and they do their best to announce, the announcers at your track are going to announce what the order is, so hopefully you hear that. But I could see that in that race people were a little bit confused. So don't feel bad if you're a little bit confused. Just listen for your name and go on your name. In the main events, everybody goes at the same time, so your order is much more set by the main event, so it's not as confusing by the main events. So in oval races, we're going to come around the track, we're going to go on a tone. So that tone just went off, the race is on. And that's going to be the same in qualifying races and in the main event. We do the same start procedure. All right, so now we're getting ready for the main event. So now we're all going to go at the same time. This will be for off-road classes. Your oval classes will still do a loop around the track, and you'll go on a tone as well, but same process for qualifying as for main events for oval classes. So just to reiterate on what I was saying there, so your off-road races, you start from a standstill. In the oval races, you actually start while you're going, and so as you're going, the announcer's gonna announce, keep everybody close together, and then bring the cars in, and on this lap we're gonna go on the tone, and usually about halfway, somewhere midway on the run, that tone's gonna go off and everybody starts racing at that point. And that's gonna be the same on, again, oval races, whether it's the qualifying rounds or the main events. That start procedure is always the same for oval racing. Hey, one thing I almost forgot to mention is the tracks will use a transponder system to keep track of our laps. And so you're going to want to find out what type of transponder system your track uses. At our track, we use MyLaps transponders. They're about $120 to $140 for a new one, depending on which type you get. There's 2-wire and 3-wire. I think a lot of the tracks will take either, but you'll want to make sure that you get the right one. There's also a company called MSI that's a really common company, but again, you're going to want to check with your track. First time out, they're probably going to have some rentals. They usually charge like $15 a day to rent a transponder if you don't have one, and say you're just trying it out for your first time, you don't even know if you want to keep going. So that's a way to get your transponder, be able to track your laps. So yeah, hopefully that helps. All right, and wrapping up the day, that was a second place kind of day for me. My oval car ended up having a throttle issue. I lost throttle partway through the race, and it came back, so I was able to get in. Managed to actually still stay in second. I was 3 laps down. Managed to catch up quite a bit. My car runs pretty fast. And in the off-road races, I'm still really slow. So I was in second place, but there were only 2 of us in my class. So I'm actually just like you guys. Like I said, I'm learning. One of the things I'm struggling with is in the off-road classes with my short course truck is I'm actually really good on when the track is a little bit loose, but I suffer a lot when the track gets really sticky. So don't feel bad. At the end of the day, even the best drivers are going to have issues, depending on the conditions. Maybe they brought the wrong tire, but for us beginners, we're going to do the best that we can. One thing I want to say is just, make sure that you're just having fun. Don't try to take each other out. Make sure, it's not fun if everybody's bashing into each other. We try to keep that to a minimum. Be good, clean, fair, and have a good time and make friends. This is a cool sport. I can't wait to see you out at the track.